we are the first company in Telangana state bought this nano revolution, organic nano fertilizers revolution in India and in the entire globe for the first time. There is no organic nano fertilizers in entire globe.
We have already seen Dr. KVSS Sairam, who is a managing director for Pratishtha Industries, who is also a pioneer in nanotechnology in agriculture. Today, we will know his further thoughts about how he ventured into nanotechnology and what are his leadership secrets.
So the nanotechnology is not a new technology, sir. It is 2000, 3000 years old.
Sir, I have a question here. You said this is based on these chemicals, but you have developed Pratishtha Industries based on the value system of providing plant-based solutions and vegan solutions. So how is it matching here when you are developing this nanotechnology through your industry?
What we have done, that the microorganisms have been purchased from government. Basic concept has taken from them. There is no doubt about it. But we have modified the organisms. So we have mutated as per our requirement because our mandate is vegetarian.
Sir, how do you feel about your employees working at different levels and what is their career growth? How do you plan this career growth for these employees?
We give them one bharosa, we give them one guarantee, we give them one assurance. If there is a success, belongs to you. If it is a failure, belongs to you. Don't worry about failure.
My soul namaskars to everyone. Welcome to PMC English. I am your Pradeep Anirudh. My dear friends, we have already seen Dr. KVSS Sairam, who is a managing director for Pratishtha Industries, who is also a pioneer in nanotechnology in agriculture. Today, we will know his further thoughts about how he ventured into nanotechnology and what are his leadership secrets. Namaste, sir.
Namaskaram, sir. Welcome again.
I am very happy to visit your office today, sir.
Welcome to Pratishtha family again.
Thank you, sir. Sir, my first question to you, when people say nanotechnology, usually chemical fertilizers come into people's mind, and you have built a value-based organization based on plant-based solutions and vegan solutions. How did nanotechnology come into your gambit?
See, when we talk about nanotechnology, first of all we have to understand the basics from where this nanotechnology concept has come. As you rightly mentioned, nanotechnology world is coming for the past few years, but the fact remains that the nanotechnology is an ancient technology. It's not now. You will be wondering to understand the nanotechnology exists for the past 2,000 to 3,000 years. I will just explain to you. The nano means it is a Greek word. It is not an English word. Nano is a Greek word. Greek means Turkish language, Greek word. Nano means methodology. So, nano means methodology. If you go back about nanotechnology concept, as I mentioned to you, it's the ancient technology. It's very old. You will be surprised to know it is the 7th century. I am repeating again. The nanotechnology was used by the human being during 7th century. They used to take plant herbs, plant extracts or medicinal plants so called nowadays. When the technology is emerging, people will talk different terminologies. But otherwise, if you see states like Himalayas, Jammu Kashmir or Kerala, lot of our nature created medicinal plants are available. So there is the ancient people never knew about the diseases what we are facing today. So old people to have certain health problems, but they don't know this English medicines or allopathic medicines or hospitals, etc. So how they are being cured, how they were cured, that was the question. That was the reason this is a very ancient technology, the very old concept nanotechnology. It's not a new technology at all. 7th century, the people used to take herbs, plant herbs, and then minerals, you call it gold, silver, iron. They used to make it the combination of herbs and minerals and make it bhasma called ash. The combination of these two used to make it as a bhasma in the Sanskrit word, but in English word it is called ash. These two together made as a ash and make like a tablet form. During that period they call it like a granulated form or a pellet form. That is basically 100% bioavailable, no toxicity at all. So you will be shocked to know that that type of technology, ancient technology, used to cure very chronic diseases during that period as well. So in the Ayurveda, something called Charak Samhita. The Charak Samhita is basically what I talked about, that take mineral and herbs together, make it ash, bhasma, and then give it as a pellet form to cure chronic diseases. For example, you take gold, whatever we use gold, the gold make it as a ash, and you will be surprised to know the gold can cure so many health related problems in the form of ash. So that means ash means they are making into a bioavailable form in a very minor form. You have to understand what is nano. It is nanometer in the sense that suppose if you take 1 meter of any iron item, if you make it into the pieces like 1 billion pieces, that is called nanoparticle. 1 meter of any item, you make it 1 billion small pieces, it is called a nanoparticle. So the nanoparticles made it as a bhasma ash along with herbs and minerals like calcium, magnesium, zinc, whatever it is, and then when they give it to the human being to cure chronic diseases. So that was happened in somewhere in 7th century. Come back to further, Tipu Sultan, he is the South Indian king in the 18th century. They used to use this nanotechnology to make sharp blades, iron blades, and then use very beautiful paintings using silver and copper, iron, all those things. They make it as a ash and convert into paints, and you can see in the Taj Mahal and so many ancient places like our Charminar, Golconda, everywhere you find beautiful paints which cannot be replaced by the latest generation, because that was coming from 7th century and 18th century. So the nanotechnology is not a new technology, sir. It is 2000, 3000 years old. I am talking about 7th century or talking about 18th century of Tipu Sultan. That is how the nanotechnology was incorporated by not even our forefathers, the oldest concept of activity.
Wonderful, sir. That's an amazing information which I never knew. It is amazing that ancient man has already used nanotechnology. Sir, what is nanotechnology in agriculture?
As I mentioned to you that earlier, because of the chemical fertilizers or excessive use of chemical fertilizers, not using required quantity of chemical fertilizers, the land has been polluted, so on, we have already discussed. So in the recent past about the Pratishtha with none other than national body called Indian Council for Agricultural Research, the Government of India body, For that body, National Agriculture Initiative Program, the World Bank has funded approximately around 1000 crores of a fund to develop a emerging technology for agriculture segment. That money has been given to Indian Council of Agriculture Research through a program called National Agriculture Initiative Program, NAIP program. Under that program, the government of India has taken up nanotechnology is one of the activities. There are thousands of technologies have been taken up, but nanotechnology was one of the technologies to develop. Go back to ancient technologies, why can't we make it available to the common man? Because you must have heard nano car, which Tatas have. So the nano world is being used everywhere today. You talk about nano refrigerator, you talk about nano painting, so many things are coming up. So the scientists of the government of India has invented the nanotechnology concept for the agriculture sector under that National Agriculture Initiative Program funding. So they have done a great amount of work. Nanotechnology means in generally people feel about a chemical synthesis. Yes, it is true. Nanoparticles will be produced through chemical synthesis. That was the concept of the people's mind. There is no doubt about it. But the government of India mission has come out with a fermentation technology. So that is how the Pratishtha has come into the picture. Why we have shown nanotechnology, interest in the nanotechnology, is a simple reason that fermentation, which fits into our line of thinking. So way back I am talking about 2010, the technology has been developed by the Indian Council of Agriculture Research Scientists. It is a revolution, and they have done a lot of, like any medicine we use it today, vaccination is coming. We need to do a clinical trials. So if you develop any product, not only for human consumption or medical products or vaccines, even for agriculture also, you need to do clinical trials. So clinical trials in the sense that people are habituated to use chemical fertilizers, 100 kilograms, 200 kilograms, 250 kilograms, 500 kilograms. Every year 20-25% extra chemical fertilizer they are using. So therefore, the nanotechnology means, as I mentioned to you, that 1 billion parts of 1 meter of any item, that means a small particle. For example, you take hair, cut into billions of pieces, you have to see that particle only in the sophisticated microscope, wherein you can find like a microorganism. So that is what is the nanoparticle, as a Greek word methodology. That technology, we had a licensing with them. So we have taken them a technology from them, and we were an industrial partner along with them, because we don't believe in taking technology, as I mentioned to you, that scientists climb and then we spend money and they don't work sometimes. So therefore we joined as an industrial partner with Government of India for developmental stage. So we took the technology from them. Then we thought of implementing in our Pratishtha Industries Limited in Chotupal Mandal. This is how the nanotechnology through fermentation Government of India has invented. Therefore, we have entered into that. But here most important thing, as you rightly asked, the nanotechnology means chemical or whatever it is. Yes, the Government of India have done chemical synthesis through fermentation process using a single range of microorganisms. For example, you have, as I mentioned to you, NPK and secondary nutrients. So there is a separate microorganism for nitrogen, separate microorganism for phosphorus, separate microorganism for potash. Like that, for all micronutrients and major nutrients, we have different microorganisms. But what is the raw materials they have taken? They have taken raw materials to extract nano nitrogen from urea. So the basic raw material what has become, though it is a fermentation technology, close to the life. The biotechnology is close to the life. Bio means life. But what is the raw material? It's urea in case of nitrogen. In case of potash, they have taken again potassium chloride. In case of phosphorus, they have taken diammonium phosphate. In case of zinc, they have taken zinc sulfate. So, what is happening is the government has done a fantastic job, there is no doubt about it. They have invented, and it is a global invention, I can say. But what was happened was the basic raw material they have selected was based on chemicals. So, that is what we have taken.
Sir, I have a question here. You said this is based on chemicals, but you have developed Pratishtha Industries based on the value system of providing plant-based solutions and vegan solutions. So, how is it matching here when you are developing this nanotechnology through your industry?
Basically, when we take any new technology in the area of biotechnology or fermentation, we will have many challenges. Fortunately, this technology has developed surroundings of Rajasthan, where temperature is normally equivalent to our Nalgonda or Hyderabad type of weather conditions. So, there is no much problem for microorganism to adopt. So, the adaptation of technology has happened very easily. But as you rightly asked, that is not our cup of tea, that we isolate or we produce nanoparticles using urea or potash or whatever it is. But we took the technology based on them, based on urea or potassium chloride or diammonium phosphate. But as I mentioned to you that we have incurred and we spent huge amount of money for our in-house research and development center. So, that is where our knowledge comes into the picture. So, what we have done, that the microorganisms have been purchased from government, and now the technology has been bought for 10 years. There is a licensing government of India is given, but we were not following that concept. Basic concept has taken from them, there is no doubt about it, but we have modified the organisms. Organism means the bacteria or fungus, whatever biotechnology process they have given us, they transferred us, they have given us the license. So, we have mutated as per our requirement, because our mandate is vegetarian, our mandate is plant based. See, I have told you a lot of associated problems about chemical fertilizers. When we talk about urea, when you use excessive urea, it is having a leaching and fixation problem in the soil, it remains in the soil. You will be shocked to know if a farmer is using 50 kilograms of urea, only 5 to 10% is available to the crop, balance 90% remains in the soil by way of fixing or leaching. It goes along with the water to other land. Same in the case of diammonium phosphate, huge amount of leaching and fixation problem. Potassium chloride, I told you, it produces acidity, alkalinity in the soil. So, in our case, what we have done, though we have taken the basic technology and concept from them, we have changed the organism and we have changed the process also. Because what is our mandate, we cannot forget. Our mandate is only to provide value addition for plant based carbohydrates, that is vegan based carbohydrates and plant based proteins. So, what is plant based carbohydrates is, as I mentioned to you earlier, that rice is converting into glucose, glucose is converting into various pharmaceutical, biopharmaceutical products and human nutrition products. So, our core strength is human nutrition products, that too natural, plant based and organic. So, we have developed our own protocol, our own technology and modified the organism to shoot that we extract nanoparticles from our biopharmaceutical products, which are human nutritional products. So, for example, nitrogen we have taken from plant based protein. When you break protein into pieces by enzymatic conversion, it will become amino acids, as I rightly mentioned earlier also. So, we have taken nitrogen source from proteins. So, the through fermentation technology, nano nitrogen, nano urea, whatever they call it, nitrogen urea replacement is Urea means nitrogen. Nitrogen replacement through nano is nano nitrogen. So, nano nitrogen has been isolated from plant based protein. Similarly, we produce potassium lactate, potassium gluconate, human nutrition products. We produce potash, nano potash from potassium lactate, potassium gluconate, because glucose is associated with the potash. Similarly, when we talk about phosphorus, the major nutrients, nitrogen, potash and phosphorus, we have taken our pharmaceutical grade phosphatic ingredients, nutraceutical products as a basic raw material to ferment and produce nano phosphorus particles. Similarly, we have produced all range of zinc. We have taken from zinc lactate that is going for a COVID drug. So, zinc, magnesium from magnesium lactate or magnesium gluconate, manganese from manganese lactate or magnesium gluconate. So, our main program, main thesis or main focus of Pratishtha about vegan or organic has been not deviated, sir. We followed our procedure. Only thing is, as I rightly mentioned, wherever there is scientist developed technology, we take it as it varies basis. But it is up to us how to use our intellectual property rights. Today, in the entire globe, we are the first company who have introduced the organic nano fertilizers, and we started journey from 1 decade back, almost like 2010 to 2021, almost 11 years. From 11 years, we are doing this activity, converting into organic, because our mandate is organic, natural, plant-based and vegan. So, we do not want to deviate from that.
Beautiful, sir. This is really inspiring that you have taken a mandate for yourself and for your company to provide organic, natural, plant-based and vegan solutions. Sir, what is the market share of organic nanotechnology based fertilizers, and how do you see the future of organic nanofertilizer based products?
This is a very, very important and very critical question, sir, for a Indian agriculture sector. Whenever you do some invention, so we need to have lot of study, acceptability. If I am a farmer, I am already habituated to use 300 kilograms, I am repeating 300 kilograms of chemical fertilizers for 1 acre of land. Today I say that I developed a nano technology or nano fertilizer which requires in a ppm level. What you require is only maybe 100 ppm, less than that, maybe 40 nanometers. So, how a farmer mindset? It is impossible to change the mindset. Though you give at a cheaper rate, but he will say how first he will have a psychological fear that I am using 350 kgs and producing 3 tons or 3.2 tons or 2.8 tons of rice, and today these people are coming, NPK is available, small bottles. So, you do not need to use chemical fertilizer, use nano fertilizers. So, you will have a revolutionary same productivity, same everything, etc., etc. These challenges remain same in the Indian conditions, unlike in a developed countries. Here, all of a sudden, the government of India woke up. This technology, nanotechnology, was developed under World Bank assistance by Government of India, national body, Indian Council of Agriculture Research. But 10 years, except Pratishtha, nobody were talking about nanotechnology at all. Suddenly, some multi-billion-dollar company has come out with nanotechnology on a different name. I don't want to take names. Nor we feel anybody are a competitor for us. We are maybe 200 crores, somebody maybe 40,000 crores, 50,000 crores. We don't care. But we know what we are doing. We are very clear about our Pratishtha mandate. Here, most important thing is education is most important. Whenever you develop anything, you have to educate the people. See, way back 2016, almost like February 25th of 2016, almost 5.5 years back, CREED goes to Pratishtha. We bought more than 20 universities in India. Predominantly, our Professor Jaishankar, Telangana State Agriculture University, our local university, very proactive Vice Chancellor. All these people have joined hands with us because without university we can't do anything, because we are talking about agriculture. So, there are two types of trials. I told you clinical trials. One is that we have to make sure that these nano fertilizers are working in tune with chemical fertilizers, or they can be potential replacements for chemical fertilizers. Who will verify that? I develop a technology, I am a commercial man, forget about science, forget about my PhDs. People will say, okay, Sairam is a businessman, he developed nanotechnology, selling the product, making the money. They will count that only. But once it is validated by university, today 200 universities have been validated this technology. And we have produced more than 6 post-graduation MSc thesis on phosphorus, potash, nitrogen thesis. Thesis means it remains forever. One student is doing his entire life as a PhD thesis or MSc thesis. So, we produced a PhD thesis, MSc thesis, and we have conducted an international conference involving 2-3 universities from United States. Talking about Tuskegee University, University of Alabama, University of Washington, then McGill University from Canada, here from Amity University, all world class scientists have been come on one platform for 3 days. And this is almost like 220 publications, used Pratishtha products, and they have presented their experiences, that how the product is performed or not performed. So, this is how we have to build up. This is how we have to create the confidence for the consumer, not by the paper advertisements, not by TV channels, for spending some few lakh rupees by giving it to paper advertisements, etc. No, they don't work. They work temporarily, but in a long run, as I rightly mentioned, that farmer is more bigger scientist on this earth than any scientist available on this earth. See, one Dr. Robert Floyd, he is a Nobel laureate. In 1996, he explained that India used nanotechnology about 2000 years ago. So, these are all papers, ancient technology, 7th century, 18th century of Tipu Sultan, but who will bring it on the surface? Somebody has to come. The government of India has come, they made it as a mission. Today, nanotechnology became a mission for government of India, sir. They are talking about replacing chemical fertilizers with nano fertilizers. That is a revolution coming from India. So, I am extremely happy today that I am not worried that I struggled for 12 years and have been not recognized. I am not worried. Today, I am very happy that nanotechnology is being propagated by all big companies, claiming whatever they want to claim, fine. But nanotechnology claim is coming up on the surface, including PMO office, saying that let us stop imports, let us reduce the chemical fertilizer consumptions, because there is a big statement that farmer income should become double. So, how it can happen? Some revolution has to take place. But here the most important thing is that we cannot hurry up certain things. Today, I want to visit US, my lot of business in North America. If I have 2 vaccines dosages, only 1 or 2 vaccines have been vaccinated persons only allowed to enter into US land. Otherwise, you are not allowed. Why? Because the United States, as I told you, a big brother, they want to go into more details, whether clinical trials have been completed or not. Some of the vaccines are not approved Even if I am vaccinated, I am not allowed to travel abroad. Simple reason is that clinical trials. What happens if, I am telling you, what happens if chemical synthesis nanoparticles which you are referring about, or organic based nanoparticles which I am referring about, how we are different from chemical to organic. What happens if you have consumed a tomato, or you have consumed okra, that is bendi, or you have consumed some vegetables, rice, whatever it is. As I mentioned to you, 1 meter of any item converted into 1 billion pieces is a nanoparticle. That means it is not, it cannot be even seen. If it goes into the stomach, what happens to your liver? What happens to your kidney? What happens to your lungs? What happens to your heart? Those are called clinical trials. So, there is a amount of hurry involved in the government system by bringing chemical based nanofertilizers. One side, we ourselves are, everybody, each and every scientist in the globe is talking about soil health, soil health, soil health, which we are talking since 25 years. But again, you are isolating nanoparticles from urea and DAP, diammonium phosphate or potassium chloride. On other side, we knew very well that there are excess quantity of the fertilizers are being used and a lot of damage is happening for the soil health. We knew everything. But again, the nanoparticles are coming from the same source without having any clinical trials. That what happens if that chemical compound of nitrogen or potash or phosphorus goes to your stomach through vegetables or your food. As I mentioned to you, that food is the cause for all our diseases. The nanoparticles which you cannot see and replacing chemical fertilizer, huge claims are happening. But if it goes into the stomach, what happens? Any clinical trials have been done? It will cost at least $200,000 to $250,000. There is nothing called a proven concept versus hurrying up the things. Proved concept will sustain. That is the reason our growth rate is very, very low. If you have a big brother blessings, would have been 10,000 crores company by this time. Because we are an ethics based company, number one. Number two, we don't hurry up. We educate children, we bring scientists on platform, we ask them to vet it, study, do the PhD thesis, MSc thesis, repeatedly, not in one university, under various geoclimatic conditions. In Jammu, your temperature, Srinagar, temperature is always on the apple crops. Temperature is, apple cannot form if there is no snow. And in the Maharashtra, in the winter season, grapes will come. The temperature will be around 25-26 degrees temperature. In Telangana and Andhra, always the temperature levels are, humidity levels are very high, but we don't get sweating in Telangana, but because of sea water, we get lot of sweating in Andhra or Chennai. So, here under various geoclimatic conditions, the products have to be tested, number one. That is efficacy, that is called bioefficacy of the products, in the sense that whether these nano fertilizers are capable enough to replace chemical fertilizers or not. That is proven by virtue of 5 years back, by virtue of an international conference, because we announced publicly that these products are commercially feasible, financially viable for making farmer package of practices very economical and make them happy. But next question, what happens if it goes inside the stomach? What are the associated problems? Are you going to have same problem which food is giving you? Our food only giving us lot of problems, health problems. We have conducted a safety data sheet. See, if you look at the safety data sheet, it spends a lot of money, sir. See, this is the safety assessment. unless we have a safety assessment, what happens is you take zinc, you take phosphorus, ferrous, nitrogen, phosphorus, all these things, what happens if you use it to the stomach, then how it will affect, whether is there any side effects for your liver, kidney or heart. We have conducted clinical trials. So, we have not ended up only proving that nanonutrients are sustainable agriculture. Okay, we have proven nanonutrients are for sustainable agriculture. Farmer can get more benefit out of it. We have proven by way of bioefficacy studies that chemical fertilizer they have used, they use nano fertilizer, they saw the results. Okay, very good, clap. But that is not the end. The end is, what if you eat? Is it going to hazardous for your health? If that clinical trials are not completed, the product is not ready for commercial launch. That is what is happening now, that we are just in hurrying up, forgetting the company which has done lot of things, and then hurrying up making replacement of chemical fertilizers with nano, etc., etc.
Sir, you said you are associated with Professor Jaishankar University in Hyderabad. You said you are also associated with 60 to 70 universities across the globe. What are the other Telugu universities that you are associated with?
It is a little complicated question you are raising. We don't discriminate any university, sir. Basically, university means it is a place where education is being spread. So, Professor Jaishankar Telangana State Agriculture University has been created after the two states have been separated. Earlier, we used to have Acharya Anjiranga Agriculture University. So, we have collaboration with 4 universities, Telugu universities. One is basically Professor Jaishankar Agriculture University, because we are from Telangana. Then we have from Acharya Anjiranga Agriculture University, that is about 15 years back, before even separation of the states. Then recently that another university has come, that YSR Horticulture University in Tadepalligudem in Andhra. Then we have in Tirupati, you will be shocked to know, even we are associated with Tirumal Tirupati Devasthanam, TTD. Then we are also with Padmavati, Mahila Padmavati University, Telugu University, Venkateshwara Veterinary University. So, all these universities in Telugu states, we are having close association with them. But predominantly, what we have to understand is, as I rightly mentioned, that most of the agreements we sign as a joint collaborative agreements, sometimes the university will have a mandate that we need to have an industry to show it to the government that we are working with the industry closely. So, they sign the agreements. But in reality, really working with the university happens with only because of a particular in charge of the university. In abroad, they call it president or provost. In India, we say vice chancellor. So, there are very good vice chancellors, not only hardcore scientists, they also have passion. They are not working for earning money, they are working for development of that particular state. So, when we have agreement with Acharya Anjiranga Agriculture University, we have done huge amount of research activities. In this book, you will find at least 40-50 research publications from Acharya Anjiranga University, Mahila Padmavati University from Tirupati, Venkateshwara Veterinary University, all these there. Telangana University more there, because the local university, number one. Number two, the factory is very close to proximity, is only 50 kilometers. The students can go to the factory and do the PhD programs or MSc programs, all those things they can do it very well. Number one. Number two is that even our government, the newly formed government, of course, I cannot say newly formed, almost like 8 years, 9 years. The team is both in Telugu states. There are vibrant chief ministers who are there, are presently there, and the associated ministers are also very vibrant. And then particularly vice chancellors are very, very vibrant. So therefore, they encourage. They are not looking at their university as a only education institute. They are also promoting technologies. They are also joining hands with the industry, and they are making sure that not only do the thesis and all. Why can't we help industry to grow and we grow along with the university? So they make their students as entrepreneurs. So university, unlike earlier, today the universities, if I look at the one or two universities and predominantly our local Professor Jaishankar, Telangana State University Vice Chancellor, or Dr. Niranjan Reddy Garu, our agriculture. These people are even our KTR Garu. They are all very vibration type of a people, and they see the new technology is emerging in Telangana state. Means it a lot. So here I must say proudly is that the Telangana Professor Jaishankar Agriculture University say 60-70% and 30% Acharya Anjiranga Agriculture University, and we can claim officially, and we are the first company in Telangana state bought this nano revolution, organic nano fertilizers revolution in India and in entire globe for the first time. There is no organic nano fertilizers in entire globe. There is nothing called producing nanoparticles or nano fertilizers from human nutraceutical products anywhere in the globe. We have already applied for the patent. We have already applied for the trademark registrations and everything. And these are all based on plant-based and human nutraceutical-based products from which we are isolating nanoparticles. So the credit goes to Telangana state because my company belongs to Telangana, and we are almost 50 kilometers away from here. So hats off to Telangana government that they promote the new technologies, they encourage the new concepts, and hats off to local university. They have done lot of thesis programs. Of course, Anjiranga University also have done. The past 2-3 years, there is huge amount of gap between the separation have taken place. The university has gone to Guntur. So there was narrowed down relationships. Those relationships are on the paper, but not real research is happening. But whereas in the local university is extraordinarily very good, and we are doing joint research programs, so many activities for the benefit of farming community. And you will be happy to know that I should not use a word called radical, but very passionate radical type of a vice chancellor is there for Professor Jaishankar Agriculture University. He brought drones technology for agriculture, which you must be heard of in Australia, US, which is happening in Telangana. So it's not a university, sir, as I mentioned to you. It is the person who makes the difference. It is the people who make the system. It is not a system. A system is created by the people. So if you go to ATM, if ATM is working, you say that bank is very good. If ATM is not working, you would say that bank is not good at all. So it all depending on the individual whose passion makes huge difference for the state. Today, state agriculture, our Telangana state agriculture will be in a position to give food for other states only the vision of the local government and the supported by the university. Because if a university support is not there, government cannot do anything. Because everything, all the scientific data, recommendations, what crops, today I understand that in Telangana they are bringing out more than 30 to 35 new crops which Telangana state or Andhra state or our Telugu state never thought of. New crops are coming in which are having high value addition. That means the government is committed for farmer welfare. Whether it happens double income in entire India or not, but take it granted from me, it will happen in Telangana. Farmer will earn, if not double, at least he will earn 1 rupee, he will make it 1 rupee 50 paisa or 1 rupee 60 paisa. That is how government schemes are working.
Beautiful, sir. So it is a moment of pride for Telangana state, for all the Telugu people, that there is this invention of organic nanotechnology based fertilizer. This will be a gift for all the human beings is what I think, because we can have pesticide free food for everyone. This is a beautiful vision, sir. So we'll speak with one more master, one more day. Your Pradeep Anirudh signing off. Thank you.